Chapter 1. The Helping Hand Club. William was busy as usual in the building which was the office for Helping Hand. He worked there every Saturday morning. Today the building was full of teenagers, all waiting for someone to tell them what to do and where to go.
Sally, Mrs. Smith needs someone to collect her shopping.
Sally went to the desk and took the shopping list for Mrs. Smith. Then, with a smile on her pretty face, said goodbye and walked out of the office.
John, Mrs. Jones wants you to take her dog for a walk. And be careful not to step on the dog this time. Gary, can you babysit for the Smiths this afternoon? Joe, Mr. Brown needs help in his garden.
The telephone never stopped ringing. But slowly, as time passed, the office became calm again. Most of the teenagers were out helping the people of the town. The rest were by the coffee machine. Someone switched on the cassette player, and William sat in his chair more comfortably and closed his eyes.
Hello.
William opened his eyes. A lovely girl stood in front of his desk, smiling.
Hello, young lady. Who are you?
I'm Kathy. I'm new here and I don't know anybody, so I thought perhaps I could help you.
You said the magic word. Help is always needed round here. In fact, as soon as Joan gets back, I'm taking the library van to the old people's home, and I need someone to help with the small trolley. Why don't you get some coffee and meet the rest of the group?
Suddenly, the door flew open, and a tall, smiling girl came in.
Sorry I'm late. Mr. Tagg took a very long time to finish at the foot clinic. He's back home now, so here I am. Any problems, William?
Nothing serious. But we do have a new helper. Kathy, come and meet Joan. She's the manager here.
William's taking me to the old people's home to give out the library books, if that's all right.
Lovely. But watch out, William is a terrible driver, so fasten your seatbelt.
Don't believe a word she says. Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.
All right, but not too much later. We have a lot of things to do, you know.
Everyone laughed, as there was really not so much to do that day. William and Kathy walked out of the office and got into the van.
Don't worry, Kathy. I'm a safe driver and it won't take us very long to do this job.
Kathy smiled at William and looked at the busy street outside.
I'm not worried about your driving, but it will take us a long time as there's a lot of traffic in the streets today.
All right then, let's hit the road.
Chapter 2. The Lady in Room 16. The old people's home was outside the town. When they arrived, William parked at the main entrance. He went to the back of the van and pushed a big trolley of books out of it. Kathy took the smaller trolley.
I'll go to the main room downstairs, and you take your trolley round the rooms to the old people who can't get out of bed. The matron will give you the room numbers.
Just then the matron arrived.
Hello, William. They're waiting for you. But who's this?
Hello, I'm Kathy. I'm new at Helping Hand and William asked me to come here.
Thank you for coming. They always like to meet new people from the town. This is the list of room numbers. Leave the lady in room 16 last because she likes to talk and feels lonely now that she has to stay in bed.
All right.
William pushed his trolley into the large, sunny room on the left of the hall. Kathy pushed her trolley down a narrow corridor with doors on each side. The old people were happy to meet her and asked her lots of questions. At last, Kathy arrived at room 16. She knocked on the door. And when a gentle voice called,
Come in,
Kathy opened the door and pushed the trolley into a pretty room, which at that moment was full of sunshine. An old lady with bright blue eyes behind round metal-framed glasses was lying in bed. Her hair was soft and white, shining in the sunlight. She smiled at Kathy. Kathy smiled back at her.
Good afternoon. My name's Kathy Watson and I'm working at Helping Hand. I brought you some books. Do you want one?
I am Miss Emily. Nice to meet you. May I ask how old you are, Kathy?
I'm 19.
Now come here and let me look at you. Yes, you do remind me of a girl I knew long ago. She was very pretty too, but enough of that. Please come and sit down on this stool beside me, as I have many things to tell you, and there is very little time left.
Kathy sat down beside the old lady. She felt calm and peaceful, but curious too. The old lady began to speak softly.
I am very old now, but when I was young I went to work in a big house. I worked in the basement doing the washing and ironing. Lord Hampton, the young master, lived alone, but many rich friends came to visit him, and his parties were famous in the town. Hampton House was beautiful then. Bright lights shone in all the rooms. They made the wood on the furniture shine and the silver sparkle. The carpets were so thick your feet disappeared inside the wool when you walked on them. I was lucky. The cook let me have some food after Lord Hampton's meals came back to the kitchen, but his other servants were often cold and hungry.
How terrible!
Oh, Lord Hampton wasn't a bad man. He just thought servants... No, he didn't think about servants at all. Rich people and his work, that was all he thought about.
Do people still work there? Cleaners, gardeners, and maybe the young people from Helping Hands sometime?
No, the house is old and needs lots of repairs. Nobody ever goes there now.
And Lord Hampton?
There was no answer from Miss Emily. Her eyes were shut, and there was a smile on her lips. The kind of smile children have when they're keeping a secret, thought Kathy.
Do you want a book to read?
No, thank you. Come and visit me again another day, Kathy.
Kathy stood up and quietly pushed the trolley to the door. She opened it, went out of the room, and back into the narrow corridor.
What took you so long?
Miss Emily. She told me about the days when she was young.
Who's Miss Emily?
The lady in room 16. The one you told me to leave last.
But the lady in room 16 is called Karen Black.
That's strange. Maybe I got the name wrong.
Come on then, we have to get back to work.
Back at Helping Hand, Joan asked Kathy to answer the telephone for a few hours. William left to help Mr. Fisher paint his house. At 2 o'clock, everyone returned to the office. Joan gave each of them a brown envelope with their name on the front. Joan gave Kathy an envelope too. Inside, there was a £5 note.
Oh, what's this?
You didn't think you worked today for nothing?
Yes, I did.
Joan started Helping Hand so the young people who don't have much money could find work, and at the same time help people who can't do things by themselves. You see, we help the townspeople and they help us. Then everyone is happy. Do you want to come to the dance here tonight?
Oh, I didn't see any notices about a dance. How do you know there's going to be a dance here tonight, William?
There's a dance here every Saturday night for the people from Helping Hand and any other young people who want to come. It's fun, and you'll meet new people. So will you come to the dance?
Okay then, I'll come. Thank you for asking me, William.
See you at 8 o'clock outside the office then.
Chapter 3. The Dance. That evening, Kathy took a long time to dress because she didn't know what to wear. She finally put on her best dress and shoes. Then she brushed her shoulder-length fair hair until it shone. A last look in the mirror showed a slim girl with happy brown eyes, her oval face framed by soft curls. William stood at the end of the road and waited. When he saw Kathy, he hurried to meet her.
Hello again. Ready to go?
Yes, let's go.
Together they went into the building. It was full of young people. Some girls were in miniskirts and T-shirts, others in long, bright dresses. Most of the young men wore jeans, T-shirts, and leather jackets. Everyone wanted to enjoy themselves. William greeted his friends, then invited Kathy to dance the moment the music started. They danced nicely together. And when the music stopped, a girl with soft brown hair and shining brown eyes came near them.
This is Sue. Sue, say hello to Kathy.
Hello, Kathy. Nice to meet you. Come and meet the rest of the crowd.
Just then, a tall young man came forward. He held his glasses in one hand and a handkerchief in the other.
This is John. He always cleans his glasses when he's thinking. He's terribly clever, so he cleans his glasses a lot.
My hair falls across one eye when I'm angry.
She looked into his kind green eyes and didn't believe he could ever actually get angry.
Here comes Pam. You hear her before you see her, because she's always laughing.
Are you talking about me?
Yes.
I hope it was something nice.
As she smiled, her grey eyes shone. A young man went near her.
Hello, my name's Adam.
Glad to meet you. I'm Kathy.
Would you like to dance?
I'd love to.
For the rest of the evening, Kathy danced and talked to her new friends, and William enjoyed himself too.
Last dance.
Mida.
William led Kathy to the dance floor. And as they were dancing, Kathy took a look at her face in a mirror. Her cheeks were pink, and her eyes were shining. After the dance was over, William and Kathy went home, walking through the streets of the town, which were now quiet.
See you tomorrow then, Kathy.
See you tomorrow, William. Bye-bye.
Every Saturday, Kathy and William worked at Helping Hand. Kathy enjoyed doing the odd jobs around town. She even sang for a pop group because their singer was sick. And then she had to serve drinks and food to the guests at a garden party. But the name of the house was Pine Lodge, not Hampton House as she had hoped. One Saturday, she and William helped Mr. Jones build a fish pond in his garden. As it was a very hot day, they decided to jump into the pond to cool off a little after so much hard work. Mr. Jones looked at them and said that he would have to put the fish in the pond the next day. On days when there was no work to do, they played Monopoly and Scrabble and had a lot of fun together. William also taught Kathy to cycle. One day, Joan asked Kathy and William to take the van to the old people's home. Kathy visited the rooms on the matron's list. Number 16 was not on the list.
Where's the lady from room 16?
She's gone away. By the way, I found an envelope with your name on it left on the floor of room 16. Here it is.
Kathy opened the envelope and took out the piece of paper inside. Visit Hampton was all it said. She put the paper in her pocket.
Was she a friend of yours?
No. but I liked her.
Then, as there was nothing else to do in the old people's home, Cathy followed William out to the van. Chapter 4. The Accident. Autumn turned to winter. In the regular Saturday morning meeting, Joan clapped her hands and asked everyone to be quiet. Everyone stopped talking and looked at her.
The council is going to pull this place down, so we have 1 month to find a new meeting place. Has anyone got any ideas?
The room was silent.
Well, if we want to keep Helping Hand, we must find a place for our office. So get onto your bicycles or motorbikes and start looking.
This is your chance to ride your bicycle out in the countryside.
Cathy had an old bicycle she'd bought from a friend at Helping Hand. At the moment, the bicycle was at the bike shop. William's friend George wanted to mend the brakes before Cathy went out onto the busy roads.
We'll go on Sunday. We can join the others and have a picnic.
Cathy got up early on Sunday morning and walked to the shop to collect her bicycle.
Hello, you're up early, aren't you?
Yes, we're going on a picnic today, so I need my bicycle.
Well, the new tyres are on and the front brake works, but today I wanted to mend the back brake. It's not working properly.
Oh, never mind. I'll ride slowly and I'll try to be very careful with the front brake.
It's very dangerous to use the front brake without the back one. If you put it on too hard, you'll fall off.
She still didn't know how to ride her bicycle very well, but she wanted to go on the picnic more than anything else.
Show me what to do, then I won't be in any danger.
George got onto the bicycle and rode round Cathy. Then he put on the front brake. The back wheel of the bicycle moved to the side, and George nearly fell off.
Now you see what can happen?
He pushed the bike over to where Cathy stood.
Yeah.
Now you try, but this time use the front brake gently.
Cathy rode slowly around George, then gently put on the front brake. The bicycle slowed, then stopped.
That's it. But remember, you have no back brake. Your bicycle is dangerous.
Thank you, George. And don't worry, I really will be very careful. That must be William and the others.
Well, have a good time and bring your bicycle back here tonight, so then I can fix it properly.
Goodbye, and don't worry.
She got on her bicycle and went to meet the others. They all started cycling together towards the countryside.
Is everything all right?
No problem.
At the end of the road there was a hill. They all cycled slowly up that hill, and Cathy pedalled harder to catch up with them. At last they got to the top.
Who wants to race me down the hill?
They started going down the hill. They were going faster and faster, and William was singing loudly.
This is like flying.
Cathy's bicycle zoomed down the hill. Suddenly, Cathy saw a crossroads at the bottom of the hill. A lorry was coming slowly from a side road, moving into the main road. Gently, Cathy put on the front brake of her bicycle. But it just slowed a little. It didn't stop.
Put your brakes on, Cathy!
I can't! William, help! Oh my God!
Cathy froze with fear. She saw the look of horror on the lorry driver's face just before she crashed into the side of his lorry. Then, for a moment, everything went black. Chapter 5. Life or Death. Cathy heard people shouting, and then the sound of her bicycle wheels spinning round. She opened her eyes and saw William's face, among other faces, looking down at her. Finally, she felt the pain all over her body. It slowly spread from her head to the rest of her body. It was so bad she could hardly breathe. A siren sounded in the distance. William, who sat on the road next to her, gently lifted her head.
You shouldn't move her. The ambulance is coming now.
This is a bad one. We'll take her now.
Can I go with her in the ambulance?
She won't know you're there, but get in if you like.
Don't worry about your bike. We'll bring it to the hospital.
Thanks.
William climbed into the ambulance and sat down near Kathy. He felt terrible. In fact, he was shaking. Kathy looked so white, and there was a deep cut on her head. At the hospital, William was walking beside the stretcher, praying for Kathy's life, while tears filled his eyes. The nurse came up to him.
Wait here, please.
Will she be all right?
I'm sure she will. You should drink a cup of sweet coffee. It's good for shock. You look terrible.
The nurse brought William some coffee. He drank the hot coffee slowly. The long wait had begun. Slowly, the young people from Helping Hands started coming into the hospital. At first, they talked to William, but he didn't want to talk. He only wanted Kathy to be well, happy, and laughing again, as she was a while ago on the way to the picnic. 1 hour passed, then another. The young crowd left, but William sat quietly and waited. The clock ticked on the wall, and the hands moved round, then round again. William hated that clock. Then the door opened, and the doctor walked up to him. William couldn't speak or even breathe.
Are you William?
Yes. How is she?
A nasty bump on the head, some cuts and bruises, but nothing broken. She's awake now and wants to see you. She also shouted the name Hampton House. Is it her home?
No, it isn't.
Yeah, she must stay in town when she leaves the hospital. No long journeys on trains or buses.
I'll make sure she stays in town. But can I see her now, please?
Yes, she's waiting for you.
Kathy smiled shyly at William. He looked tired, and his T-shirt was covered in dirt and blood. He sat down on the chair next to her bed.
How do you feel? You gave me an awful fright.
Much better now. The doctor says I can go home tomorrow.
Yes, he said you're fine. He also told me that you said something about a house called Hampton, or something like that.
Hampton House. A lady I met in the old people's home said she used to work there once.
A nurse came into the room.
It's time you went, young man. Come again tomorrow and take her home.
Good night, Kathy. See you tomorrow.
Good night, and thank you, William.
Kathy relaxed and closed her eyes. She thought about the old lady's story.
Who was the old woman? Why did she tell me about her past? She seemed to know me, but I had never seen her before. Rich masters with lots of servants have not been around for a long time, and the old lady looked so old. This Lord Hampton, can he still be in that house? Why did she give me the invitation? Oh, it's the bump on my head that makes me feel confused. The man must be over 100 years
Chapter 7. A Bad Night in Town. At 7 o'clock the next morning, the phone rang in Christina's flat. It rang many times before Christina answered. She took a long time to wake up. "Hello? Who is it?" she asked at last. "Christina, it's me, Danielle. Are you okay? You didn't phone me back yesterday. Is everything all right?" "Well, I'm fine, but I don't like this feeling that somebody is trying to hurt me. That's why I'm phoning you. Do you want to go to the police with your story?" "I don't think so. I know I saw the man in the gym who pushed the weight, but I don't think I could tell the police what he looks like. I don't know him." "Okay," Danielle said, "but I'm worried about you, Christina. Would you like to come to the club tonight and talk about it?" "I'm sorry. I have to go out. But I can probably come to see you quickly after work," Christina said. "Okay. See you later, then," Danielle answered. "Thanks for thinking of me." Christina meant it. Danielle was very kind to her. Christina got ready and walked to the museum. She arrived a few minutes before 8:30, but it was not quiet. The museum was full of life. Christina sat in her office for a moment. 3 people looked in through the door at her. "Hi, Christina. Great talk yesterday." "Everything's going really well, Christina." "Hi, Chris. Good luck today." There were smiling faces and kind words everywhere. She heard Philippe Maudet's voice outside her office and went out to meet him. Christina and Philippe spent another day in meetings. After lunch, Philippe showed the museum directors photographs of the paintings he wanted to bring to Buenos Aires. He had a photograph of the painting with the red poppies, the same painting that Christina had in her office and her bedroom. Christina took the photograph in her hand. Suddenly she felt cold and sick. She didn't know why. This was her favorite painting. It was strange that it was making her feel like this. She passed it quickly to the person on her left. At 5:30, Philippe turned to Christina and said, "How about our walk around the city? Is it still okay?" "Yes, of course. Do you need to go back to your hotel? I could meet you there if you want," said Christina. "No, there's no need. Let's go now," answered Philippe. He took his jacket and followed Christina out of her office. The 2 of them left the museum and walked down Avenida del Libertador. Christina showed Philippe the Recoleta Cemetery. She told him the story of General San Martin, who was the Libertador, the man who made Argentina free. "And there, above the buildings and the trees, you can see the top of the English Tower," Christina said. "It's the same as Big Ben in London. The British people who lived in Buenos Aires gave the tower to the city in 1910. Philippe smiled. "You'll want a tower like the Eiffel Tower from me before I leave," Philippe said. "No, I'll be happy with 37 Impressionist paintings." Christina smiled, and they walked on down the Avenida. As they walked, Christina decided to stop at the gym so that she could talk to Danielle quickly. Then they could get a taxi and drive around the center a little. They could drive to Plaza de Mayo and see the famous buildings there, then come back to have a drink in a bar in the Plaza San Martin. After that, they could walk on to the new area of Puerto Madero. She wanted to take Felipe to the restaurant where her father took her on the day she got the job at the museum. Then, after dinner, they could go to San Telmo and see a tango show at El Viejo Almacén. She couldn't let Felipe leave without hearing the real music of Argentina. Soon they were outside the Recoleta Health Club. "This is the gym I go to," Christina explained to Felipe. "I had an accident in here 2 days ago, and I need to talk to the manager for just a minute. Do you mind if we go in for a moment?" Christina asked Felipe. "That's fine. I'd be interested to see inside," said Felipe. They went in and walked past Florencia, the receptionist. She smiled at Christina, but stopped Felipe. "Excuse me," she said. "I need to see your club card, if you don't mind." "He's a friend of mine," said Christina. "We just wanted to talk to Danielle for a moment." "I'm sorry." "That's okay," said Florencia, and she phoned Danielle's office to tell him he had visitors. Christina found Danielle and introduced him to Felipe. They talked for a moment about the gym and their jobs. Then Danielle turned to Christina. "I wanted to show you the names of people who came here in the last few days. The only problem is that we don't have the names of the people who bought day tickets." Christina looked at the names, but there was nobody she knew. "I'm sure I don't know the man," she said. "I didn't see him clearly, but I'm sure I don't know him." "Okay," said Danielle. "Florencia isn't sure either, but I'll talk to some more people. Maybe somebody else saw this man." "Thanks, Danielle," said Christina. "I'll see you soon." "Nice to meet you," Felipe said to Danielle. Danielle shook his hand and smiled. "And you," he said. Danielle watched the two of them leave. He would like to be with someone tonight, and thought about his girlfriend back in Rosario. Christina and Felipe walked out of the front door of the gym together. "Let's get a taxi to the Plaza de Mayo from here," said Christina. "Okay, and on the way you must tell me more about this accident," said Felipe. "It sounds like a strange story." They stopped at the side of the road to look for a taxi. There were always black and yellow taxis around, but sometimes it was difficult for them to stop in the heavy traffic. Suddenly, an old Peugeot 504, which was parked on Avenida del Libertador, started and drove towards them. Christina was looking for a taxi when she saw the Peugeot coming right at them. She shouted and pulled Felipe back from the road, but it was too late. The car hit Felipe and then drove away along the Avenida.